So lots of people with autism find it difficult to sleep. So that's either getting to sleep or staying asleep. And generally sort of winding down before sleep. I know my son has huge difficulties with this. It's like before bed, he just gets all the energy from the day and condenses it down into a couple of hours when he's meant to really be going to bed and going to sleep and winding down, and decides this is the time he wants to ask a gazillion questions, do colouring, do drawing, bounce around, listen to music, read books. So I find that quite frustrating myself. I've never really had any problems going to sleep. I've always really enjoyed my bed and just wanting to get into bed and wanting to sleep, wanting to read. But what I have always done is I've always had to block everything out. So I'm super sound and light sensitive. So I have to wear an eye mask, and I've got a really nice one that my husband bought me that has sort of bits that go under the eyes as well. So it doesn't feel like it's crushing your eyelashes, but it also blocks out the bit under here, you know, with the sort of ordinary ones. When you look up, you can still see light underneath. I also have to have blackout curtains and blinds, and I always have to wear earplugs. And even with all that going on, I still have my duvet, my cover pulled right up, not over my head, but right up here. My son sleeps with his duvet completely over his head. Now, no matter what time of year, even if he's like sweating in the summer, he'll still sleep with a duvet over his head. And funny enough, I had an ex who is likely on the spectrum too. He's got... his nephew is autistic, diagnosed autistic, and having come to realise the more I've understood that I'm autistic, realised that actually I think he's highly likely to be on the spectrum too. But anyhow, and he used to also sleep with earplugs, and he used to have a cover on. He'd have his duvet, but then he'd have like a sheet, like a fitted sheet, single fitted sheet that he'd sort of hook over his feet and hook over his head. It's the most bizarre sleeping sort of thing that I've ever come across. But he'd have to do that to block out everything and to feel sort of cocooned. And I know some people like to have weighted blankets and things like that. So yeah, I definitely have a sort of sleep routine. I also still sleep with my pregnancy pillow, and my son's nearly 11 now, so I haven't been pregnant for a very long time. But my big long pregnancy pillow that I used to sleep with and cuddle with and be really comfortable with, I still have. I find it very difficult to sleep without that now. So what do you have? Do you have any sort of rituals that you have for sleeping as an autistic neurodivergent person? Do you have things that you have to do before you go to sleep, like routines? I know my son has to do certain things with the pictures on his wall. He has to look at a certain thing before he can turn the light out. And he has to wait until we're up before he'll go to sleep. He won't go to sleep until we're, you know, trying to go to sleep ourselves. Obviously I have my earplugs, my eye mask, my blackout blinds. My husband, also autistic, has to listen to something to be able to go to sleep. What's your thing? Do you have problems with going to sleep? Do you have specific routines? What do you find helps you if you are a person who struggles with insomnia? Does it help to do some exercise, like going for a brisk walk around the block before you get into bed? Do you find that you wake up in the night even though you go to sleep really soundly? What helps you when you wake up in the night? Because, you know, let us know, because it might help someone else who watches the video. Thankfully, I don't have that too much. I'm in perimenopause now, so that's another story. And that does bring with it its own sleep disturbances, but they're not related to autism. They are just something that's come on more recently as I've got older. So yeah, let me know. Do you have funny sleep routines? What do you do? Do you sleep really well and you don't have to have any of these sort of sensory deprivation things? Or do you just never sleep and you really, really struggle with sleep? And how do you cope with that? Let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear more about your sleep stories. Thanks, guys.